So doing color separations for CMYK printing. This file, or maybe you bring your file in, one of the first things you want to do is make sure that this is unlocked, that this is not, doesn't have a little lock next to it. You can do that by renaming it or clicking the lock to make it off. Another thing you're going to want to do is be in a CMYK mode. So that's image mode, CMYK. CMYK, this one's already been transferred over. All right, so I pulled my layers over here just so we can expose channels down in here. So as I'm looking through the various channels, these are telling me that the cyans exist primarily in the black areas. The magentas are primarily in the black areas, and as you imagine the flag, that is quite more of the red tones or magenta tones. And yellows are going to be like that A right there, should be nice and black, and also within the text location here, nice and black. So yeah, makes sense. What we can do is in the channels mode here, little flyout menu, we can do split channels. What the split channel feature will do will pull me up a version of each. So I got too many docs open here, but we'll have a version of each channel. So we'll have cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. As we go, here we go. Here, let's hit F on the keyboard here so you can see the. So God bless you is my file name. God bless you there too. God bless you there too as full color. So the gray one is or not gray, it's cyan, but it's in a gray mode. And then we got magenta, and it's in a gray mode, and yellow, and it's in a gray mode, so on and so forth. What we'll want to do is start off by making sure that the background is unlocked and named. So cyan for our RISO printer is actually going to be blue, and magenta on our RISO is pink. And yellow on our RISO is orange. And then the last one, black, is actually going to be the gold color. All right. So now right there, I've gotten my color separations, and each one of these things would need to be printed out as a black and white image to be scanned over on the RISO and printed with the appropriate color in order to do this printing press technique, if you will. I really don't know why this one popped up, but whatever. I'm going to not save it. The next thing I wanted to show you was doing a halftone, which halftones are a way to limit ink coming onto a page. It's also a way that many printing presses ran and still run. So halftone process we do through a bitmap mode. Bitmap modes are a little bit different than other modes. They're pretty limiting in what you can do, but the halftone is like its primary function, I'd say. So let's focus on the cyan layer here, and we'll notice that it is a gray, which is important. Can't go into a bitmap unless it's gray. You also can't go into a bitmap if you've got a 16-bit file, which this is a 16-bit file. So one of the first things I need to do is go image mode 8-bit. All right. And now I can go into image mode bitmap. And when I'm going into bitmap, it asks me to flatten because it doesn't support layers. And I only have that layer over there anyway, so it doesn't matter. Now it's asking me about the resolution of the file. I may as well stick with the original. That way, if I want to use this in a form of like masking it into the other, that it will transfer nicely. And I want to make sure that I'm on a halftone screen. Some of these other options are an option, but I want you to focus on halftone. So I hit OK. And now I've got options for halftone. What you'll note is the lower the frequency, the more you'll be able to see the dots. The higher the frequency, the less you'll be able to see the dots. Like if you want photographic reproduction looking halftones, you got to be in the 70s and above. If you want like, oh, Roy Lichtenstein looking halftones, then you might want to try 10. The angle it talks about which way those dots will be going, or in this case, lines will be going, or squares or crosses. So you got options here. Let's look at lines. And we'll run those at a 120-degree angle, just see what happens at a frequency of 10. So there's my dot pattern at a frequency of 10. Command Z, I'm going to undo that. I'll show you one more image mode bitmap. Flatten, sure. 300 pixels, fine. Let's go up to 30 on those lines and hit OK. Okay, so now the lines are a lot tighter because there's 30 lines in an inch as opposed to the 10 lines in an inch. So this can be a stylistic decision. Sometimes when you do a bitmap, it looks super weird, like the colors just kind of wig out on you. And I can't get this one to wig out, but if that's you, don't freak out. Note that sometimes when you go back to a grayscale mode, you're back in business. So what I'm going to do here, image, mode, and I'm going to leave the bitmap and go into grayscale. It's going to ask me for a size ratio, that's fine. And then I'm going to go image, mode, CMYK color. And now I'm back into my standard way of working. And I want you to do this so that eventually we can bring all the files together and begin a preview on what this thing will look like when it has seen the RISO. All right, so I'm going to go through the other three and do a similar process, and then I'll bring on the video once I'm ready to pull them together. So I have gone through and converted black, yellow, magenta, and the good old cyan. And I also, so I tagged each one of those with, you know, the color it corresponds to in my RISO. And I also put the line pattern on here, or the, what is it called? The angle. The angle was 120. Line pattern was 30 on all of these, but angle being 120. So anyway, that's indicated by a pink 60, so the angle of the line changes, and then 30, the angle of the line changes, and 180 angle line changes there as well. Anyway, we're going to pull all of these into the same document. So what we'll do is maybe pull them all onto the blue document. So I'm going to go on to the pink or magenta, or right click here, go duplicate layer. And we want to put this onto the cyan, and it's going to be saved as pink 60. We'll hit OK on that. Go to the next one, duplicate layer. Again, we're going on the cyan, orange 30. And then this one, right clicking on that layer, duplicate layer, and moving on to cyan, which is gold 180. Okie dokie. Now if we go back to the gold 180 doc, we got all of our layers popped into here. So what we want to do is get a preview of what things look like. So the gold 180. Now what we're going to do is put a gold overlay on this, and that's a layer style. So with this layer selected here, we can click the good old effects button and go to color overlay. And color overlay comes up. Now, what we want to do is specify the color. We are going to grab this gold color because that is the gold color. So if you had the code in, you could pop it into place, and then you would have the gold colors associated with our RISO. It just happens to be up here in my swatches. So I'm going to hit OK on that for gold and hit OK. Same thing, orange, or actually I'll do it the other way because it makes more sense. Color overlay, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click on the orange color, which is this number right there, and hit OK, and then hit OK. Now we don't see it because it is underneath that one. Same with pink, color overlay. And grab us the pink, which is like fluorescent awesomeness, like Pink Panther pink. Blue, same thing, FX, color overlay. Grabbing the blue, although you have to click it first, and then grab, that's pink, Adam, blue, and then hit OK, and hit OK there. So underneath all of these, we got the colors, like there's our blue, our pink, our orange, and our gold. Now I'm gonna select, here, I'm gonna pull this down so you can see a little better. I'm gonna select them all. What we actually need to do for blending modes to work is to rasterize all these effects. So select all, right click, and rasterize layer styles. And that's just gonna jam all those colors onto the appropriate layers. Now with them all selected, I'm going to change this to multiply. Multiply, what it's going to do is cause all of, since they're all selected, it's going to change them all to multiply. So there's our gold layer, adding a little bit, the orange layer. So this is essentially simulating what the RISO is going to do. And you'll note that because I changed the line pattern on here, we've got this like basket weave thing going on, right? Because the lines are going that way, the lines are crossing over. So if your lines kind of crisscross, you'll get these weird intersections. Cool, weird texture, huh? Whatever. Or you can have your lines going in the same direction and having more of a cohesion with your blending. At any rate, so there's a simulation of what my information is going to look like. I can always extract that information by going over to the channels panel and then doing that same thing of splitting those channels apart and then having them pop up in here. But I've also got them just right through here. So remember, these are the ones that we feed the RISO, but pulling them together is a part of like being able to, I don't know, get a basic idea of what that thing is going to look like given the colors that we have in our RISO.